What if the cleanest your bathroom has ever looked is the moment it became the most dangerous room in your house? She's not doing anything reckless. She's not even doing anything unusual. She's just cleaning. Bleach for the toilet bowl. A quick rinse. Then, because the grout still looks dull, a splash of vinegar straight after, while the bleach is still wet on the surface, but she ended up in the hospital. This is Safety Incident Report. It's a Saturday morning, the kind where the house is finally quiet. Her husband took the kids to their soccer game an hour ago. She has the whole place to herself, and she's decided to use it well. Coffee in hand, playlist on, she's doing the deep clean the bathroom never gets during the week. She starts with the toilet. Bleach, swirled around the bowl, left to sit while she moves on to the sink. She wipes down the counter, lines up the products under the sink, hums along to whatever's playing. This is a routine she's done dozens of times. Nothing about this morning feels different. She comes back to the toilet to scrub. The bleach has done its job, but the grout around the base still looks dull, stained at the edges. She remembers a tip she read somewhere. Vinegar for stubborn grime. So she reaches for the bottle under the sink and pours a little around the bowl, right where the bleach still sits, wet on the porcelain. She kneels down to scrub, face close to the bowl, the way you do when you're getting into the detail work nobody sees. That's when she notices the smell. Sharp, tight in the back of her throat. Not like bleach, which she knows well by now. Something sharper, more aggressive. Almost like the deep end of a swimming pool, but concentrated, like someone turned it up. She pauses for a second, eyebrows pulling together. Strange. She glances at the products beside her, shrugs slightly, and keeps scrubbing. It's probably just a stronger batch of bleach. She's almost done anyway. A few more seconds. A few more breaths, low over the bowl, in the one place in the room where the air barely moves. Within moments, her throat starts to burn. Not irritation, burning, like she's swallowed something hot. Her eyes start watering, fast, and it's not emotion. It's her body trying to flush something out. She blinks hard, sits back on her heels, and that's when the cough hits. Sharp, involuntary, the kind that doubles you over instead of just clearing your throat. She tries to stand and the room tilts slightly. Her chest feels like it's being lightly squeezed from the inside, like a hand pressing in just under her ribs. She tells herself to get up, get out, but her legs feel slow to respond, and the coughing won't stop long enough for her to take a full breath. She makes it 2 steps toward the door before her knees give out. She doesn't fully lose consciousness, but the next several minutes are a blur of gasping on the bathroom floor, reaching for a phone that feels impossibly far away on the counter, lungs burning with every attempt to breathe. The house is empty. No one is coming up the stairs. No one even knows there's anything to come for. It's her neighbor, oddly enough, who saves her. Walking her dog past the open bathroom window, she hears the coughing, the kind that doesn't sound like a cold, and something tells her to knock. When there's no answer at the door, she calls for help. Paramedics find her still on the bathroom floor, conscious but struggling. The unmistakable sharp chemical smell still hanging in the air around her. She's given oxygen on the spot and taken straight to the emergency room, where she'll spend the next several hours and ultimately the next 3 days, recovering from something she never saw coming from 2 bottles she's used her entire adult life. Here's the question almost nobody asks while they're cleaning. What actually happens when 2 completely normal, completely legal, completely common household products meet on the same wet surface? What she breathed in on that bathroom floor was chlorine gas. Not a metaphor, not an exaggeration. The actual gas, the same one with a documented history as a chemical weapon, generated quietly in a home bathroom from a bottle of bleach and a bottle of vinegar. Bleach contains a chemical called sodium hypochlorite. Vinegar contains acetic acid. Separately, they're some of the most ordinary items under a kitchen sink anywhere in the world. But the moment an acid touches that chemical in bleach, it triggers a reaction, and that reaction releases chlorine gas immediately on contact. It isn't slow. It isn't subtle. It forms the instant the two liquids touch. In a small, poorly ventilated space like a bathroom, the concentration can climb fast. Health researchers note that chlorine gas is considered dangerous at levels as low as 10 parts per million. 10. That's not a high bar. That's a bar a closed bathroom door can clear in minutes. And here's the detail that made her exposure so much worse than it might have been. Chlorine gas is heavier than air. It doesn't rise and drift away like steam. It sinks. It pools low, along the floor, inside a tub, inside a sink basin, exactly where she was kneeling, face just a foot or two above the surface where the two chemicals were mixing. That smell, she noticed, sharp, like an overly chlorinated pool. That was the gas announcing itself. At low concentrations, the smell is actually a kind of built-in warning system. The problem isn't that the body doesn't warn you. The problem is almost nobody knows what that warning means in the moment it matters. When poison control centers and emergency responders look at incidents like hers, the pattern is remarkably consistent. It's rarely someone doing something they knew was dangerous. It's almost always someone doing two separate, completely reasonable cleaning tasks back to back in the same space without rinsing or ventilating in between. In a single recent year, U.S. poison control centers logged thousands of calls specifically related to people mixing vinegar and bleach. Thousands. Not from people trying anything experimental. From people cleaning their homes exactly the way they always have. So here's what actually matters, starting with your next cleaning day. If you ever notice a smell that's suddenly sharper, more aggressive, more like an overly chlorinated pool than your usual bleach, that is not a sign to keep scrubbing through it. That is your cue to stop immediately, get out of the room, and breathe clean air. Open every window you can reach on your way out, and don't go back in until the smell is completely gone. Never use bleach and vinegar in the same space without a complete rinse and dry time in between. Not a quick rinse, a real one, followed by genuine airflow before the next product goes anywhere near that surface. Pick one chemical job per task. If you bleach a surface, that surface's chemical work is done. Rinse it fully. And if you want to follow up with an acid-based cleaner like vinegar, do it later, in a separate cleaning pass, after the area has properly ventilated. And whenever you're using strong cleaning chemicals in a small space, keep the door open and a fan running or a window cracked, especially if you're home alone. Gas that has somewhere to go is far less dangerous than gas that doesn't. 3 days later, she came home from the hospital to the exact bathroom where it happened. The bleach and vinegar were still sitting under the sink, right where she'd left them. That's when she learned, the hard way, what those two bottles could do to each other, and to her, in under a minute. She never made that mistake again. Now you know, before you ever have to learn it the way she did. If this opened your eyes even a little, share it with someone who cleans the way she does. Drop a comment and let us know if you've ever noticed that smell without knowing what it meant. And subscribe to Safety Incident Report so the next lesson finds you before the accident does. Every accident has a story, and every story has a lesson.